All right, guys, welcome to the Playbook, the coaches show for the Lancaster County football season. I'm here with Jeremy Smith, the head coach of Andrew Jackson Volunteers. Coach, thanks for being on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Fairfield Central game didn't end exactly how y'all wanted. What was your message to the guys after the game?
Yeah, I mean, we it seems like we've been a more or less a first half team, and second half hasn't been quite where we need it to be. And so, that was kind of part of the message is, whether it's a practice thing, there's just something we got to get better at, and making sure that we can come out in the second half and execute and give it a full four quarters. So, that was part of it. And then the biggest thing is we've played a very tough schedule at this point. Our players know it, and the beautiful thing is it starts over this week. So we've been preaching, and we started preaching last Saturday. Hey, we're 0-0 now. We can make of this what we want to make of it, and kind of move on from there. So.
And talk about your offense. I know you're plugging and playing people a lot of times. You've had the injury bug has kind of hit your team a little bit, so you have players playing kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Talk about the offense and what you've seen from them and what you want to see moving forward.
Yeah, so we'll get one quarterback back this week, so that'll be good. Last week it was, not we did some things inside our offense. We were very simplistic about stuff. We had Bryce Peterson stepped in at quarterback last week, and he's never played that position. And we were for the year we're down two quarterbacks going into last week. So it is what it was, and so we did a good job executing in the first half, and it was a close game. We did a good job running the ball, and we got to be more efficient passing the ball going forward. We get Logan Neal back this week, and as long as we can be more efficient passing the ball, it'll benefit us, and it'll definitely help our running game. Last week we just got caught with a lot of guys for Fairfield in the box, and they kind of had an idea that we weren't being as efficient as we needed to be passing the ball. So it is what it is. But I told them we can't hurt ourselves. There were a couple times the last 2 weeks that we've been on good drives and we've hurt ourselves, and we get the red zone or whatnot, and we end up having some sort of penalty, whether it be a holding or a false start or something to set us back. So we've got to we got to keep cleaning that up. If we don't penalize ourselves, and we get all 11 guys executing on the same way every play, we feel like we're getting there.
And defensively, you probably had to be pretty happy, at least in the first half with them. They held a really tough Fairfield Central team down for that first half before they kind of got explosive in the second half. Talk about your defense and what you liked from them.
Yeah, we've had some players that have, like I've been saying week after week, have stepped up and done good for us. And so, that it is what we played. We played some younger guys this past week because of injuries, and we got guys that for most of the quarters, like I said, that they're flying around, they're getting to the football. Can we do it for four quarters is the big thing. And so, we've let some explosive plays happen to us here or there with, either a quarterback run or a pass that we just got to break down and make the tackle on. And so, but I like their effort, their mentality every week. In practice, they're getting after it in practice. They're doing the things that you need to do to get where we need to be. So that's what I'm happy. I'm just happy overall with their work ethic so far, and our confidence level over there, our intensity. It hasn't changed all year, which is through our tough schedule is could be a tough thing, right? Kids could get down. They could think very negative of things, and those guys have continue to work hard, give a lot of effort, fly around.
And talk about special teams, what you've seen from them and what you've liked and like to see more of maybe.
Yeah, this week was probably our worst special teams game. And it just, CT had to go out with injuries, our main kicker, and he had been kind of stepping in, helping us play a little bit of offense, defense, and he goes out with an injury. And so Zach Hammond had to come in and step up and punt and kick for us, which he wasn't necessarily used to. So and did a good job with it. did a great job actually, kind of stepping in and doing that. And then, we just lost field position game. Two balls we lost are, we aren't used to playing at noon on a Saturday, and two guys lost some balls in the sun, on a punt return and a kick return, and we had bad field position. So we talk about it all the time. We just got to get better field position. We block pretty well. We cover pretty well on most units, and we just got to return the ball a little bit better.
And you talked about playing on Saturday. You had to face a little bit of adversity this week with moving things around because of the hurricane coming through, and your team has probably faced some adversity with the injuries and everybody stepping in and having to move around. How does that maybe help a young team in the long run as the season kind of goes, like gaining experience when it gets to region play? They've been sort of tested, right?
Yeah, that's what we're hoping, right? So that's what we're hoping, that our guys they're ready to go. And like I said, we've seen some really, really good talent. We've seen some really good players, some really good teams, and so at this point, we're just, we've preached to our players, we've told our players over and over, right? You've seen these very good players, these very good teams at this point. I mean, you're prepared, right? You've seen the best you can see and played the best you can play, and so we harp and I harp every week. We got to learn our mistakes. We got to learn lessons from it, right? If we're growing from it, like I said, the biggest thing I wanted to see, and now that we start region play, the biggest thing we want to see is, can we just put 4 quarters together? They like you said, they've handled adversity most of the time fairly well, and so it's just, can we put 4 quarters together? And as we start region, we got to, right. They know they have to at this point. There is no more excuses. There's no more anything, and we want to reach goals that we want to reach. It starts this week, so they understand that, and they understand that they've seen what we've told them week after week. They've seen the best, and they just got to take those lessons and let's go forward.
And you said it earlier, starting the season now 0-0, so that you're hitting into the region season. First game is Cheraw. It's homecoming game. What are you expecting from them and the atmosphere at AJ?
Yeah, the biggest thing we always say, and I always try to, every day while I'm with them, I harp on it. Don't let it be a distraction for what we put on the field. So, that it could be a big thing. They've got things going on every day, and parade and just different things that are happening all week. So, the biggest thing is, don't let it be a distraction, right? This game is for, the product we're putting on the field. So understand that people are coming to watch you play and watch us, play well. So the bottom line is, we just can't let it be a distraction. You want to have fun, and they're in high school. This is one time, too, they don't get this, ever again. So we tell them, have fun with it, but make sure that, our mind and our mentality is still on what we need to get accomplished. And, and I know our AJ crowd, they're going to show up and show out for, the team. And I know they're excited, for this one. And like you said, it being homecoming, we'll probably have a little bit bigger crowd Friday night.
And what do you think of Cheraw? What have you seen in their tape?
Yeah, they're easily one of the better teams, or one of the top teams in our region, and they've played a tough schedule just like us. They've played a 5A school, and they played actually 2 5A schools, and and they've played some very good, talented 2 and 3A schools, and so they're battle tested a little bit themselves, right? They've kind of been down the same path we have this year, so that's a probably going to make the game, like I said, a little bit tougher, and the fact that they've seen some speed and some very good teams also. So the biggest thing is that they're going to run the ball, and they're going to establish a running game. They have a quarterback who I feel is very accurate and can throw, but they're going to establish a pretty good running game, and that's what their MO's been. And defensively, they have a solid box of players. We're talking DL and linebackers. They play very, they're very sound. I've been very impressed with their defensive ends. They do a good job of taking away and boxing out and boxing out things from a pull and guard standpoint or counter or whatever you want to scheme. So these guys have done very well. They've done, in my opinion, very well up to this point. They've played well up to this point. So it's a tough game. Like I said, what we're looking for is for our kids to go battle for the whole game, and let's make sure that we're getting better at finishing games and coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Awesome. All right, AJ, you guys get on out Friday night. It's a homecoming game. We will have it on Learn TV, but nothing like the atmosphere of being under those Friday night lights. So get out to the game and see those Andrew Jackson Volunteers taking on the Cheraw Braves. And it's homecoming. Make sure you get there. Coach, thanks for being on, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We are here with Joe Watson, head coach of the Buford Yellow Jackets, coming off a 41-36 win over the North Central Knights. Coach, what was your message to the guys after the game?
It was so back and forth. One, I told them I was so proud of them just because they stayed the course. Coaches, players, coaches put a great game plan together. Players executed. Obviously it wasn't always clean. But, the message at halftime was you're up 21-7. You got to find a way to finish it. Come back at the end of the game, and the message was very similar. Good teams find a way to finish things early on. But also the mark of a good team is that they found a way to keep fighting and finish it off in the end. And so I was really proud of the way they executed for the most part. We had a 2-minute drive right there at the end, the score. I think we got it back with 1 minute and 40-something seconds left, and we had a big pass completion for a touchdown that put us ahead. So, our kids kept fighting, man. I can't say enough about them because I tell you a lot of times it's a mark of Buford. That it is what it is. They're gonna fight until there's no more time left to do it, whether we're in favor or whether we're behind or whatever. But that's just who these kids are out here.
And if people have watched any of our broadcasts at Buford, we say that all the time. They might not look as big on man for man, but they have as much fight as any team that we see play out there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. They come to work every day. And they bring the lunch pail. So,
well, talk about your offense. Obviously, they did some things right. You had a lot of people, I think, step up and contribute.
We did, and it's funny. Here's the crazy part, right? So I told them going into the week, I said, the last 3 ball games, we've won the statistical category in everything that you can keep 2 of the 3 ball games. The only place we hadn't won is on the scoreboard. Now, those two ball games, 2 of those 3 ball games, we lost by 3 points total. And so I told them going into the week, I said, guys, it's a big week because it's the first region game, but we're so close. We're so close. I said, we just got to eliminate a couple of plays here and there, and we're going to turn the corner. And so I think we finally figured it out how to do it. And I tell you the statistical part to tell you we didn't win one of those this week. We really didn't. I mean, they had more first downs, they had more total yards, they had more penalties. I guess we won that one, but still, even without all of that, our guys found a way to win the football game. And like I said, I was just tickled for them.
And you maybe didn't win the offensive statistics, but defensively you put some touchdowns on the board, which always helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, I'll go back. Offensively, I can't say enough about what Hunter Mills has done for us in the past 2 games playing quarterback. And he started Friday night or Saturday, I should say. And we made a change and went back with Noah for a little while. But I think both of them stayed in and out of there rotationally. but I think Noah came in and threw well. He was 2 for 4 for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the crazy part is Cole Carnes had two of those catches, and he had 2 touchdowns. So, we ran the football effectively enough that we could throw it. But the wrinkle coming in that we had set up was we were going to put Marvin Randolph in the backfield and see if we could get the edge with some lead blockers. And the first play of the ball game, he goes 65 yards untouched I say untouched. He hit a stiff arm on a kid and went up sideline and went, like I said, 65 yards for a touchdown, one of his 4 on the night. So, I was, again, nothing's clean every time, but you'll take them how you get them, and that's a heck of a way to start the ball game.
And you said he had 4 touchdowns. I know 2 of those came defensively, right, on scoop and scores. Talk about your defense and what you liked out of them.
Well, I thought Isaac Praken, he had a heck of a night. Hunter Mills actually stepped up and played linebacker for us. Can't say enough about that kid and his determination and heart. Yeah, I think Isaac played really well in the middle at linebacker. And then Marvin had just, I told the guy after the game with the newspaper, I said, Marvin had a special night. It's not something that you're going to have every Friday night. But he accounted for 4 touchdowns. He had 2 defensively. One of them was 85, and one of them was 85 yard scoop and score that he actually batted down the option pitch, and picked it up and ran. And then the other one was from 10 yards out. So he had a career night on Saturday, and I was just excited for the kid, man, because he works hard every day.
And you talked about, Hunter and Rudolph. Like, this happens with a lot of your kids. It's not like they're just playing offense. They're playing offense and defense and probably special teams too. Talk about, how difficult that can be and how, special your kids are for being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've told you this before, but, last year, guy from Sherrall on the radio wanted to interview me before the game in a pregame show, and he says, Coach, you got a lot of kids going both ways. And I stopped him in the mid-sentence. I said, no, sir, we got guys going 3 ways. Because we play offense, defense, special teams around here, and that's just the way it is. And it's ingrained in them when they show up from family members in the past that have played, that's just the way it is around here. And, we're fortunate to have good numbers this year as opposed to years past. But, we're always going to play the best 11, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams. So, yeah, those guys – I talked about Hunter stepping in and playing quarterback. Saturday, we had a need at linebacker. We put him in there because that's where he plays defensively. But he stepped up and made some plays for us. But conditioning wise, we're still getting there because it's so much to play dang near every snap. But I think our coaches do a great job of rotating kids to where we can get them a break, 2 or 3 plays, and then get them back out there. So I can't say enough about those guys. Our coaches do a great job, man.
And talk about, it was a crazy week, with the hurricane coming through, and, our thoughts and prayers are out for all the people that are affected by that. But, this is a game that's supposed to be played on Friday. School gets canceled Friday. You play on Saturday. Talk a little bit about keeping your kids focused during that and your coaching staff and trying to get everything arranged to make it work.
Yeah, well, Thursday we had our walkthrough like regular. I told the kids when we dismissed after practice, I said, look, man, Friday is a chance for you to, number one, get whatever work the teacher assigns for you to get done, and then just rest. Don't try to go nowhere in the nasty weather. Just rest your body and get prepared. At that time, I think we knew exactly what time we were playing Saturday. So I made them aware, told them, we were in the building at 12 o'clock Saturday, and we did another walkthrough and treated it just like a Friday. Our coaches were ready to go. They're always prepared. They do, like I said, I got one of the best coach staffs in the state, and we work well together. So, keeping the kids focused when we got them in the building on Saturday was not a problem. They were locked in and ready to go.
And this week you got another region game. You're traveling to Central. Talk about Central and what you're expecting from them.
They're typical Central team, man. They're not bigger than anybody, but they're fast and strong. They've wrinkled up a little bit defensively from what they've done in the past, but they still their MO is still get to you faster than you can get rid of the ball. Offensively, they look a lot like us formationally and the stuff that they schematically that they try to do. Quarterback is a pretty good athlete, but if we can tackle and block, that's pretty much the game of football. So if we can do those two things, we got a chance.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win. On Friday night, guys, if you have don't have anything to do, head out to Pageland Central and watch those Buford Yellow Jackets take on the Central. I like to say Pageland, the Central, and they're Eagles, right? The Central
Yes,
Eagles,
sir.
and get another Yellow Jacket victory. Coach, thanks for being on.
Hey, thanks for having me. Go Jackets.
All right, and thanks for continuing to stay with us here on the Playbook. I'm here with Adam Hastings, head coach of the Indiana Warrior football. Coach, another tough game for you guys, another close game for you guys. Talk about the message to the kids after the game.
Just I was proud of them, being down a couple guys and not having, everybody that we want to go into the game and dealing with all the adversity of having the game moved and losing a day of school and you kind of the uncertainty that brought. I was just really proud of how they played, proud of their effort, their grit and determination, kind of dealing with the ups and downs of the game, how they handled the good times, good things that happen, how they handle the bad things that happen. And the biggest thing I think to them is just, we're really close. We're still just doing a couple things we got to get better at. That's keeping us from kind of, turning the corner in these games. And that, it's important to be frustrated. It's important to be upset. Like those are 1,000% natural feelings. You should be mad. And it's good that our players are mad because 3 years ago in a game like that, our players have been, hey, we have a win. They would see that as a win, just for us to be in the position that we were, to be up most of the game and, have a chance to throw a Hail Mary at the end of the game in the end zone to try to win. So I think there's a lot to our players that has grown, and I told them it's good to be upset, but it's important to harness those feelings toward our opponent going forward.
All right, Coach, and talk about your offense, what you saw in them, what you liked, maybe what they need to improve on.
Yeah, I mean, I was really proud of one, how we move the ball. They've had some success defensively, doing a couple different things, and I thought we did a good job adjusting. When we rushed for, Jamal had another night over 100 yards. He had a little bit more carries than we would like for him to have, but some of that was because of Marion Davis wasn't playing. But he just did a fantastic job. Thought the offensive line did a great job. Only gave up one pressure on a quarterback, in 25 attempts, which is good. And then I thought we did a good job in a passing game, trying to complete some big plays. We had a couple big transitional plays and momentum plays in the passing game that I thought were really good. And the issues that we did have, I think, are things that we can continue to work on to get better.
All right, and talk about your defense, what you saw, what you want to improve, what else needs to happen there.
Yeah, when you play kids, teams that have players that are the caliber of stars that Rock Hill is, Malik Clark's the fastest kid in the state. He's a really good player going to Florida State. They have another receiver who's extremely talented, quarterback who can really run. You have to play really sound. And so I thought for the majority of the game, coming out, forcing a turnover, the very first play on defense that we took down and scored, playing really well in defense for the majority of the game, I thought was really good. We just can't give up big plays. And players like Malik and other players like in our region like that, you have to play sound. You can't make mistakes because they'll punish you for it. So, but overall, I was really proud of our defensive effort. Again, without Amarion and I thought our guys did a great job. Christian Bus did a great job stepping in, and I think it was a lot for us to build off of.
And talk about special teams.
Yeah, another big day. I mean, Lavorius Lucas is really putting a stamp on this season as a punt returner and kick returner. You know, he took a kickoff down inside the 30, and he took a punt back that was called back for just a penalty, blocking the back penalty, but took that back for a touchdown. So really proud of that. You know, we did give up a block kick on a block punt or tip punt. We got to do a better job of. It's a technique issue that we have. I know we fixed it. But overall, I thought we did a really good job on our coverage teams also, keeping them from flipping the field, allowing some of their playmakers to get in space.
And I know this week was a crazy week with the hurricane and all that. Talk about the process of deciding, are we going to play on Wednesday? Are we going to play on Friday or Saturday? What's going to happen? And then keeping your team together during all that to play on Saturday night.
Yeah, the biggest thing when this stuff happened last Sunday is when we start looking at the weather and we start looking at future forecast and concerns, and we started communicating on Sunday with Rock Hill and just seeing what they thought. And I know some people started moving to Wednesday, and the biggest thing I told our players is we got to just be ready to go on Friday, and we'll be ready to go on Friday. And if we move it, we move it, but we're not going to play the ping pong of, are we going Wednesday? Are we going Thursday? Are we going Friday? Are we going Saturday? Are we going Monday? Let's just be prepared for Friday. And so knowing that, we did move our JV game to Wednesday, and knowing that Thursday was probably, if we did get a practice, we wouldn't be outside. We extended practice on Wednesday. After our varsity, we went on to another field and got in kind of the big pieces of our Thursday practice. Did our Thursday practice in the gym, a little bits of it, and then found out Thursday night that we're going to be, that the district didn't listen. I get it. I don't want to have to make those decisions. My father was an assistant superintendent and had to make those decisions about what's right about, shutting the school down or, sending kids home or not allowing events. And, ultimately, our district has to make decisions that are based on school safety and student safety. And we have a really broad county that's vast, that goes from almost Carowinds to Kershaw and all the way across. And, so there's a variety of different things I know our district takes into place. And, for me, selfishly, I wanted to play on Friday. But also, just being a kid riding around with my dad in his car at 5 o'clock in the morning when he's testing out roads to see if it's too snowy, I know the weight that goes into his decisions. And so we completely understood. And as soon as we got it, we made a plan, and we pushed it. And our kids and staff just did a phenomenal job of not letting them bother them, being prepared, just rolling with the punches. And it's just a real testament to how great of a team this is and how great of a group it is.
And this isn't the first time you guys have had to do that. You've had to push back games before for multiple different reasons. So you probably don't like it, but it almost becomes, not normal, but it makes it maybe a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think having done it now, this would be the third time, this in the last 2 years. I think you kind of get a little bit more of a feel for it. I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to stay on Friday. But it is what it is. So there's nothing we can do about it, and we just roll the punches.
Well, and the plan is coming up this Friday, you're going to play Nation Ford at Nation Ford. Talk about them and what you see in their football team.
Yeah, they're a hungry group. They beat us last year here on the last play of the game. So I know they know that they can have some success against us, and for us going into the game, it's just about doing the things that we do well and getting better at the things that we got to get better at. It's not a overly complex concept of that. Just getting better. We're in nowhere in a position where we got to flip the table over and start drawing from new. I think what we're doing is good enough, and we can continue to lean on it and try to find some success in that.
Well, the weather forecast looks better for this Friday. So if you guys aren't doing anything on Friday night, make sure you get out to Nation Ford High School and support those Indian Land Warriors. I know they'll be ready to play. Coach, thanks for being on, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Troy.